Oh, hey.
Hello. Good morning, Parkway family. It's a blessing and a pleasure to be back
I can
with
put
you
these on now.
today. I'm excited to worship with you. Hello to our giant audience out here. It's great to see all of you. I
So
can't
many
see all
here.
of your faces behind this massive crowd, but it's great to see
Wonderful
you.
to see you. So glad you guys could make it.
Yeah. For those of you online, good morning. We miss you. We're sad you can't be here, but we're happy to be able to worship with you today, regardless of where you are or what you're doing right now. So, today, we are going to have some pre-service fun for a little bit with you. If you don't know what pre-service is for, I'm just going to tell you briefly why we do this. So, we we do it because people have to come in here in a specific way, so it's not to waste time, but it's to make the most of our time. But also, we recognize that in this season, we don't really have things to do for kids ministry, and so this is a way that you can engage your kids and your children with us, and even your youth with us, as we kind of highlight some of the things about the message that we're going to speak on, and do some object lessons, and just have a good time together. So, without further ado, I am Pastor Gavin, and this is Sir Laserman himself, Hunter
Hello.
Peacock, and we are your pre-service show. So thank you for coming and joining us.
That almost rhymed. You almost had it. It was almost perfect. Anyway. So welcome to Parkway. Welcome to our stream. And for those of us who are with us, welcome to our church. Just as a couple of quick little housekeeping things, remember that stay in your sections if you're with us live. Stay in your sections. Stay seated during the service. And as well to keep your masks on at all times. As well, we have bathrooms in our normal spots. To use the bathrooms, go out the middle door there. And we haven't done the question yet, have we?
And if you're not live, feel free to stand up. Feel free to sing loudly and joyfully. Feel free to enjoy those around you. But for those of you who are here, please stay safe. But thank you for coming. We're happy you can be here. Okay, so we have a question for you. And we're going to ask a different question every single week. So if you're here, I want you to answer this to the person beside you, to your left and your right. You're probably from the same family if you're sitting together, but we don't always share everything with our family. So I think this is a great way to engage with each other. And if you're at home, still feel free to talk to the person beside you and answer it to them, but also engage with us online in the comments section with your response. So, week one's question is this. What is something you accomplished this week?
That's a good one.
Hunter, what is something you accomplished
Something
this week?
I accomplished. Well, funny you should ask that. Yesterday, a couple of my friends and I, we went on a hike to Blue Mountain, which is about an hour from here. And what makes it an accomplishment is not that we just did on a boring old walk, because, pretty and all, but kind of lame.
Anyone can do
So,
that. Yeah.
my friend Kent and I, we decided that we saw this mountain and we thought, why walk around a boring path when you could just climb?
Don't try this at home.
So we looked at this mountain with all its little cracks and little tiny handholds all the way up, and we decided, yeah, I could do that. And so we did it. And we took pictures of it to prove that we did it. And then I came home and told my mother after I was home and safe and not hurt, so that she wouldn't have to worry about it, because I'm fine.
Wow.
So my accomplishment is that I was able to climb a mountain and make it to the top. And then when we got to the top, we made like a little cross out of some sticks and planted it there and got a really nice group picture. And we got to really just enjoy fall. Got to see all the trees, and trees are beautiful, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so beautiful.
There's nothing like a good tree. Who
God's
here
great, man.
thinks that there's nothing like a good tree? I think there's nothing like a
So
good tree.
Gavin, having said all that, what's something that you have accomplished?
Thanks for asking. I really
So
appreciate
welcome.
that. You're so kind. Well, something I accomplished this week is actually something that I've been working on for how many months now? Since last January. So if you didn't know, I just graduated from Bible college in April, but because of COVID and the pandemic and everything going on with that, we haven't been able to actually celebrate that graduation yet. And so I was also on my class council for this time, which meant that I was helping organize our graduation banquet. However, the grad banquet that we prepared and created got moved because of the pandemic. You can't meet together with
That's
a
fair,
whole
that's fair.
graduating class when you can only have 10 people together. And so we wanted to still make something happen. And so every week or few weeks for the last few months, we've been meeting together online to try and plan something to celebrate. And finally, after months of planning and a much longer class council run than I ever anticipated, we finally celebrated and got to do something special as a class this past week. And so
That's awesome.
I accomplished that, and that is a big weight off my shoulders.
That's a big win, too. That's
That is
awesome.
Oh yeah,
I'm happy to hear that.
yeah, huge win.
Yeah, so let us know it, people online. Let us know in the comments. Oh, I can actually point there, eh? There it is. Couldn't find the camera. Anyway, so let us know online in the comments or just to the person beside you, what is that you accomplished this week?
We will be reading them.
Yes. There will be a quiz.
Yes.
Speaking of quizzes, there's one right now.
Whoa!
Didn't see that coming? That's because it's a pop quiz. I hated pop quizzes. Anyway, so this one, it's the kind of, we did something similar to this last week, but this one, you don't have to raise your hand at all because it's not just like a yes or no question. It's very much like something more for you to just think about in your head, or you can talk about it to the person beside you, mention it to them. So I got a couple of questions here for you. First
Wait,
question.
so are you saying this isn't getting graded?
What's that?
This isn't getting graded?
This is between you and God, and
Wow.
maybe anyone beside you.
Wow.
I won't know the answers.
That's
However,
good. I
if you
want
do
to be
want to
part
put
of this one.
if you do want to put the answers, you're welcome to put them in the comment section. All right. So, first question is, which are better, cats or dogs?
Ooh, the question of the century.
Now, I know I said this wouldn't be graded, and there's technically no right or wrong answer because it is a matter of opinion. However, if you said cats, you're kind of wrong. But anyway,
And
I
not even
digress.
kind of. Very wrong.
Very wrong. Yes.
Very wrong.
Now-
Dogs. Dogs is the right answer. Are dogs the right answer? Who here
Dogs
thinks
are a great
dogs is
answer.
the right
Yeah,
answer?
dogs
Yes,
are
yes,
better.
Thank you. Does anybody here think cats is the right answer? Okay, so the exit doors are just over there. Make sure to go in an orderly fashion. Thank you.
Yeah. Dogs are better. However, the next question, I like this one. Would you rather, I love these ones, have a hand for a foot or a foot for a hand?
Huh. What?
I see someone is testing the theory now. I love it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We encourage testing the theories.
Yeah, always test the theory before you confirm it.
What would you prefer, Hunter?
That's actually a really good question. I think I would go hand for a foot, especially after I've just gone on like a climb sort of thing. It'd be easier to grip things sort of, It'd be
You
really
could get up there
useful.
so much faster with four
Right.
hands.
Especially with climbing trees and stuff, you could grab onto the. Oh, anyway, I'm thinking too much about this. I want a hand for a foot,
Yeah, what would a foot hand be like?
but a foot. I feel like a foot hand would be like you'd lose your thumb. You'd have no thumb.
You have a big toe.
That's not an opposable thumb. It's not the same.
That's true. I guess you could run really fast though. Or your foot is harder than your hand, so you could
Handstands would be easier. But then here's the question: if you have a foot for a hand, is it still a handstand?
Oh. Oh.
Follow-up question: if you have hands for feet,
Is it a
are you
foot?
always in a handstand?
That would get really tiring. Could you
These-
imagine your hands holding you up for
Acrobats do it.
Okay.
But these are the questions that science needs to answer. I don't want to know about Pluto. I want to know about this. Now, this is also another very important question, and this one really kind of lets us know kind of who you are as a person. Is pineapple acceptable on pizza?
Go. All in favor? All opposed?
All right,
Explain.
I got some. Explain. Well, I can very much explain. Pineapple does not belong on pizza because I said so. Also, it's just a widely known fact that pineapples are fruit, and fruit does not belong on pizza. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Online, tell us why or why not you should have pineapple on pizza. I think it's a beautiful compliment to the pizza to have something sweet inside of it. But anyways, we will not get into this right now.
You're welcome to your
That's for
opinion,
later.
but you're wrong. All right, so now let's move towards a couple maybe a more serious question. Oh, whoops, this is upside down. Oh no, that's the wrong one. That's better.
It helps
So-
when you can read it.
If you could be famous, would you? I want you to think about that. If you could be famous, would you? Now, if you could be famous, if you wanted to be famous, what would you want to be famous for? Would it be for doing something really awesome? Would it be being famous because of who your parents were? Would you want to be famous because of, I don't know, what else could you be famous for? Music, art, an athlete. What would you want to be famous for?
Hot dog eating.
Hot dog eating? That'd be
There's a lot of things.
yeah, a different one.
Wearing shorts in the freezing cold weather. Something
Now,
like
along
that.
a similar line of thinking with that, would you still run a marathon or a race or do some sort of competition if there was no chance of winning a trophy? Like if there was no trophy to be won, if you're just doing it for the sake of it, would you still run the marathon? Would you
No.
still compete in? No,
No,
no.
that's too much work. If I'm putting in
Interesting.
that much work, I want an award.
Interesting. I'm going to write that in my notes here.
Yeah.
Yes. Now,
I need to listen to this message today.
tell me about your childhood. But yeah, no, it's a good question though. If there's no chance for some sort of reward or award, would you still do that difficult thing, the run the marathon, compete in the race, compete in the whatever sporty thingy things that people do that's not climbing rocks? Oh, rock climbing. Would you do that if there's no trophy?
You did it for no trophy,
Yeah,
just for the view.
I took pictures of it, so like there's still like there was
something-
still some sort of like
Accomplishment.
accomplishment, right?
Yeah, but you enjoyed it.
Have you ever done something kind, but only because people were watching? Were you doing it just so that people could see you do something kind? Have you ever done that before?
Ooh. Raise your hands if you have.
I've done
and
that
not
before.
just because people
Yeah.
are looking.
I've done that before.
I've definitely.
Would you say that you have life figured out? Would you say that you have everything, like you know what you're doing with your life, you know what you want to do, you know everything there is to know to go on with your life? Do you think you have life completely figured out?
Do you have life figured out? No?
No? Oh,
Really?
Good. I don't either.
I
so
thought you would have.
I was glad I'm not alone there. And finally, what is more important? Success or love?
Deep thoughts with Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
I'm really just giving her tonight.
Hey.
Tonight? It's the morning.
It's the morning.
Oh, I'm in the wrong time zone.
The hike messed you up. That's okay.
That's
okay.
you know how it'd be.
Okay, well, while you're pondering, we're going to go into a bit of an object lesson today. So here's the thing. I really, 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 really wanted to get us more fire today.
Really badly.
And I was really close to doing it. I was going to set up a fire right here in a
Right there.
trash can.
Yeah.
But then I realized, one,
Smoke
that
detectors.
might look a little sketchy. And two, smoke does trigger alarms.
Yeah.
And we want you guys to be able to stay here since you made it all the way here. So we're not going to use actual fire,
Nope.
but instead, I have pictures for you. So,
Beautiful.
this is our object lesson. So, today we're talking about life for God. Last time we talked about life from God, and something that I found really interesting from this book that Pastor Nate's preaching from is the author says this about what a lot of churches do. A lot of churches try to take Christians from a life from God perspective and bring them to a life for God perspective. And this is why. So, life from God is that you seek God for the gifts that he'll give you, and you become these spiritually full Christians. And people want to end that, and they want people to actually start doing things with their faith and being missional. But in doing that, they miss the point of actually being with God and bring people from a place of just being filled with knowledge to emptying themselves with doing a lot of things for God and making their life's purpose about doing stuff for God rather than being with God and doing stuff for him out of being with him, seeking his blessings because he's a good father and those things. So what the life for God is actually fueled by is the fear of insignificance. So the life for God, this is often seen in Bible colleges, in churches across the country, because people think and get their worth from doing something from God, from achieving something huge for God. And you'll often hear an encouragement to do that you're doing this ministry because you want to see people come to Christ. You want to see all of these amazing things happen. You want to see his miracles. You want to see these things happen, which, again, like all of the postures, isn't a bad thing. But when that's all you do for God, and that's all your relationship with God is, that's when it's a bad thing. Your relationship with God should come from actually being with God, being in his presence, learning about him, knowing him. And then when that fuels your passion for him and living for him, then it's something beautiful. So this is what I have here for you. So I have an image of fire. And what do you see in the fire? Can someone tell me? There's a word in there. It's fear. You're right. I think I heard you from under your masks. Thank you.
Yeah, it says fear.
So,
I see it now.
Thanks, Hunter. Yeah, it says fear. So in this picture, this is the life for God perspective. Your logs, your wood, your fuel for the fire is fear. And the specific fear is the fear of not being significant. That if you don't accomplish what God wants you to accomplish, you're going to let him down and you're going to be a failure for your life. And so everything you do is fueled by this fear of not being enough and needing to achieve what God wants you to achieve. But here's the thing, when your fire is fueled by fear, when it's what you stoke your fire with, what happens is that fear ignites. And what comes out of the fire is more fear, more insecurity, more not feeling significant enough, more disappointment. But if you look at this second image, what do you see at the center of the fire?
Love.
Love. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Hunter.
Got you.
Yeah, you're really good at seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love is at the center of this fire. So this is the difference between the two. When the core of your life is living with God, when your relationship with God actually consists of love rather than fear of not achieving something for him, and when that's what you stoke your fire with, when that's the fuel for your fire, then everything you do, every act of service is no longer producing fear or insecurity and isn't leading to disappointment, but rather what comes out of the fire, the flame, consists of love. So you actually pour out love to those that you serve. You actually reveal Christ to those that you serve when you serve like this. So doing things for God isn't bad. It's actually really good, and we're called to do it in Scripture. But when we do things because we feel like they're going to make us worth it, or they're going to achieve something for us, that's not the right motivation. But when we do it because we know the love of God, and his love is so big and it pours out from us, then every act of service, we show the love of Christ to those around us. And so that's what we want to strive for. And now, to explain that a little further, we're going to start our segment called Story Time with Hunter. Hunter,
All right.
would you like to share our story?
This week, as this is just like the launch week for this new segment, I don't have a slide ready. But next week, we're going to have a slideshow with a story up there so you can follow along. But for this one, this is just a quick story about what it means to have to do two different motivations. Two men on a mission. So, the first man, Henry, he's on a mission with his friend, Joshua. Now, the reason he's on this mission with his friend Joshua, who he loves very much, is Joshua is looking for his lost friend. And so Henry, who is caring for Joshua, decides to help him. And so they go off into the woods to search for Joshua's lost friend. Now, the second man is named Wallace. Now, he was going into the woods because his boss told him that he would be fired and he would lose his job